Hello and welcome to this online session with the Careers team at National College of Ireland. In this session, we will focus on strategic networking on LinkedIn, and leaving the webinar, you should have actionable advice and strategies that you can apply immediately to drive traffic to your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is first and foremost a relationship building platform. It's hugely powerful as relationships make opportunities. 66% of the working population in Ireland are on LinkedIn, and over 90% of employers use it to recruit and screen candidates. What's particularly interesting, though, is the fact that of the 675 million LinkedIn users, only 3 million post content weekly. Looking in a bit more detail, about 1% of users generate content, 9% like or comment on posts and share them within their social circles, and then 90% are what we call lurkers. They scroll through without creating, sharing, commenting or liking posts. What this means for you is that if you are one of the 10% actively engaging on LinkedIn, you have a really great opportunity to increase your visibility. In earlier webinars, we spoke about the importance of having a keyword-rich, search-optimized LinkedIn headline and profile. And that is absolutely crucial. But you're much more likely to grab a recruiter's attention by showing up as a comment or post in their feed, as opposed to crossing your fingers and hoping that you come up in one of their searches. Unless a hiring manager or recruiter actually sees your profile, it's simply there floating amongst the hundreds of millions of other LinkedIn profiles. To be noticed and to drive traffic to your LinkedIn profile, you need to engage thoughtfully and proactively. Before we move into a more proactive approach, let's recap on how to create a powerful LinkedIn headline. There are two types of LinkedIn headline. A job seeker's headline, which is keyword rich, so you can show up in the searches performed by recruiters, and a sales headline, where you sell yourself and the value you can add. For the purpose of this session, I'm suggesting that your headline has two aspects. The first half of your 120 character pitch should be keyword rich and focus on who you are. And the second part should show the value you can add. For example, I have chosen Career Development Manager at National College of Ireland as my opening statement. And then my value proposition is that I connect graduates to employers. I have added a link to the Careers Instagram page as I'm keen to build followers there, but if I was working in industry or actively looking for opportunities, I may have mentioned award winning, or I may have mentioned our employment statistics as a way to prove my value. So step one in this proactive approach to driving traffic to your LinkedIn profile is to find relevant people who are active on LinkedIn. If you want to increase your visibility and you don't have a large number of connections, you need to go where people are congregating, and that's on a well-performing post. Looking through your feed, you will see posts that have a large number of likes and comments, and these posts get thousands of views. If you comment on one of these posts, you'll get a portion of these views as well. To give a very practical example, the recent Careers Fair post got almost 6,000 views, 96 likes and 8 comments. Many graduate recruiters engaged, and a well thought out comment here would have been viewed by many graduate recruiters in Ireland. So what do you need to do? Well, first you need to find people to connect with, and once you've found them, filter them for those with good content and engagement and start to follow those. So at the next stage, we're going to look at how to find people on LinkedIn that you can connect with. You can use Boolean search methodology on LinkedIn to find people that are of interest to you. For example, here, I have used a people search and I have searched for keyword terms, including graduate recruiter or university relations, and I have then filtered that search by location Ireland. I could have used other terms as well, such as graduate recruitment, campus recruiter, campus recruitment or early talent. This search has brought me a list of graduate recruiters in Ireland, and I can now start to investigate those that are of interest to me. My suggestion then is that you'd follow those that are working in the area you're interested in, who create or engage on LinkedIn. As another example, you may be a marketing student and you'd like to find NCI graduates who are working in the marketing field. So here I've searched for a variety of marketing terms, such as marketing specialist, media, digital. I've done a people search and I've filtered it by school, National College of Ireland. I now have a list of marketing professionals who graduated from National College of Ireland. But you may also want to search content. For example, here I wanted to search if anyone had posted about recruiting graduates in Dublin. So I did a content search and I searched for the following terms: graduate and Dublin and hiring. And what that revealed was that both Fifes and Facebook had on a LinkedIn post mentioned the fact that they were recruiting for graduates in Ireland. Something we touched on a few moments ago is the fact that you have to use as many different keywords as possible to maximise your search results. So here, for example, I've done a content search and instead of the word graduate, I've used the word trainee, which has brought up a trainee accounting role with Sigmar, who are recruiting on behalf of one of their clients. And this now gives you not only an opportunity, but also a recruitment consultant in Sigmar that deals with graduate recruitment. So now we're in the situation that you know who's working and recruiting in the area you're interested in. So you need to think about who you're going to follow or who you're going to connect with. A good option here is to look at their activity on their LinkedIn profile. Initially, you can click the All Activity button to see what they like, comment and engage with, but then you could later on click the Posts button to see what content they publish. So step 2 is going to focus on commenting. Commenting only takes a few minutes every day, but it can have a drastic influence on your LinkedIn views. So as we mentioned before, if you comment on a well-performing post with a high number of views, you're likely to get a proportion of those views as well. If you comment on a recruiter's post, perhaps in response to something they've done on campus, it is highly likely that they will visit your profile. To give a practical example, Joe Keating did an Instagram Live event for us and commented on LinkedIn afterwards saying how much he enjoyed it. Joe was actively recruiting IT graduates. His post got 86 likes, so it probably had in the region of 1,500 to 2,000 views. Those who commented were mainly senior figures in Galantis, including the managing director. By commenting, you gain the attention of the person who made the post, their network, and other people also. No students commented on this post. However, a thoughtful comment here by a student would almost definitely have been viewed by Joe and by other senior figures in Galantis, differentiating that student from the many others applying to the role. Another example was a Dell graduate recruitment event in Limerick IT, a high-performing post with which Dell graduate recruiters engaged. Again, a post here by a student or a comment here by a student would absolutely have been noticed. So the next question is, what do you comment? Most people leave very low effort comments on posts. They may say things like great work, nicely done. These in fact are quite bland and are unlikely to drive traffic to your LinkedIn profile. It's really well worth the time thinking of a comment that is positive and adds value to the discussion. To give an example, 2 people in the career space that I follow who engage very proactively on LinkedIn are Farouk Day and Christine Cruz-Vergara. Every comment they leave on a post shows effort and adds value. So the final step in this 3-stage process to driving traffic to your LinkedIn profile is to keep continuing those 2 steps every day, or at least a few times a week. So open LinkedIn a few times a day, scroll through your post feed, see something that's of interest to you, and spend a little bit of time thinking about a thoughtful comment. And once you get the hang of it, it really won't take more than 10 to 20 minutes of your day. The beauty of it is that you can see the direct impact your actions are having on the number of views on your profile by clicking the Who Viewed Your Profile button on LinkedIn. Now, it might all seem like an awful lot of work, but it absolutely will drive traffic to your profile. It will help you stay top of mind with people in your network, and it'll give you the opportunity to build relationships. And as we mentioned before, it's relationships that make opportunities. In the next section, we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at how to create engaging posts on LinkedIn. One of the first things to note here is that posts with a photo or a video only get 3 lines of visible text. If there's no photo or video, you get 5 lines. So you really need to make sure that the message you want to get across appears in the first 3 lines of your post. To increase views then, I suggest that you use a photo rather than a video, that you tag some relevant people in the post, you respond to comments, and it may be appropriate to use some hashtags within the post as well. Here's a practical example of an NCI student who went to a Deloitte webinar. After the event, she posted a thank you note on the site, tagging those in Deloitte who inputted into the session. Looking at those who engaged with her post, it's clear that her profile and her post was viewed by partners and directors in Deloitte, something that probably didn't happen to the 50 to 60 other students who attended the webinar. Now, you might have noticed that LinkedIn posts generally all have the same font and formatting. There's no option to use bold or italic, bullets or symbols within LinkedIn. It may be that you'd like your post or an element of your profile to stand out with some formatting. So there is a workaround using Unicode text converter. There are a few different options. One site I like is linkedinmakeover.com. They have a text formatter. Otherwise, you can Google Unicode text converter and copy the Unicode text into your LinkedIn post or your profile. There is a word of caution here. Unicode text isn't searchable and it uses more word count than normal text. The same LinkedIn Makeover site also has symbols that can be useful for your profile or post. Again, it goes without saying to use these with professional caution. But here are some practical examples of what the formatted text looks like in your post or headlines. The final session we're going to look at today is contacting relevant people to ask them for advice. Often people contact others looking for help or advice with a me approach, going straight in with questions such as, can you give me information on this? Will you review my CV? Can you refer me to a job, or will you introduce me to somebody? But networking really only works when it's a symbiotic relationship rather than a parasitic one. And ideally, you'll only ask for something when you've built up some social capital with the person you're asking from. Now, that isn't always possible. So if it's not, and perhaps you are reaching out to someone cold, think about moving away from the me approach and look instead to recognise that person for something they've done. Maybe they had a career change. Maybe they broke into an industry with a non-traditional background. Maybe they have an event and you could have people that may be interested in attending. They might have a blog post, you could comment on it, review it, share it. But you can also use your alumni network, and that's generally a warm network once you approach it correctly. So again, ideally you will have built a relationship before going in. But I do like this example, as we're not saying, hi, I want a job, will you help me? Instead, this person is recognising Dale for something he has achieved, a complete career change, and asking for his advice and insights. Another example here is a letter to an NCI alumni asking for advice and insights without the me approach. I really hope this has been useful in helping you think about how you can engage strategically on LinkedIn, how you can move to being one of the 10% that engage actively on the platform and use it as a tool to increase your visibility with recruiters. Every best wish in your networking endeavours.